Okay, what's going on, everybody? We're here, we're alive. Hopefully, you all can see and hear me clearly. And if you can hear me clearly, please do me a favor and drop a one in the live chat for me, and then we can get today's show started. Hopefully, as I always say, the goal is to wrap it up in 30 minutes or less. I think that we will be able to do it with today's show because today's show is more of a precursor, if I'm using that word correctly, for next Friday's show live stream, which will be airing at the same time it always does, somewhere between the 1 o'clock and 1:30 p.m. Time frame. The goal is to start at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but I haven't been able to do that yet. But you always know every Friday between 1 p.m. and 1:30 Pacific Standard Time, TD's going to go live. It's going to pop up. You'll get that notification randomly. And then hopefully, maybe by the end of this month, I'll be able to actually start on time at 1 p.m. But next week's show at 1 p.m., fingers crossed, we're going to be doing a live stream about how the Biden administration failed Tyre Nichols, right? And that live stream is definitely not going to be 30 minutes long. It's definitely not going to be 30 minutes long. It's definitely going to be a full hour because there's going to be a lot of information coming with that live stream. But like I said, this one's more of a precursor that's going to lead us into next Friday's live stream. So I see the ones coming in. So that's great. I'm glad to see everybody can hear me clearly. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and share this video out on your social media, and we can get going. So now, I want to make sure to say this first and foremost, right? So that there's no misunderstanding going on here. In no way, shape, form, or fashion is this a critique or some sort of attack, right, on the Nichols family. I can't tell anybody how to grieve, what they should do in grieving, or anything like that. You know, whenever someone's dealing with a tragedy that they're dealing with, especially for it to happen in such a brutal and public fashion, I have no opinions on anything concerning what they choose to do, period. This is not about them. What this is about, though, is about the Democrats and how they'll use situations like this to take advantage of a grieving family in order to use it as a launching pad for their own initiatives and their own political agendas and for their own political gain. And in this particular instance concerning Tyre Nichols' funeral, this funeral essentially was a vote blue no matter who rally. That's what this funeral turned into. And I don't believe for one moment that this was the idea of the Nichols family to do this. Now, obviously, they co-signed on it, but I believe that this is an idea that was brought to them. And in their grieving state, you know, and because they want justice and completely understandable, yes, put this on TV. You guys do whatever it is that you have to do, right? But we all know how the Democrats get down when it comes to Black America. And for Democrats, it's all about using us for their own political gain, for us to continue to vote for them like we have been doing since 1964 to the tick of 85 to 90%, just to never get anything in return for your votes. That's what this is all about. DSB, I appreciate the super chat that you just sent. All contributions to the channel are very much needed and they're very much appreciated. Even if it's $1, it all counts. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much, DSB. So now that I put that disclaimer out there, because I just wanted it to be clear that I'm not coming at the family at all. I want to get into the Vote Blue No Matter Who rally, which was supposed to be the Tyre Nichols funeral, right? And what you saw from the very beginning of this Vote Blue No Matter Who rally, right, is that you saw that it was about everything but Tyre, right? Everybody was promoting themselves, talking themselves up about how great they are. Kamala Harris is so great. Al Sharpton is so great. Ben Crump, you're so great. Lee Merritt, you're so great. Lee Merritt didn't come on. At least I don't think Lee Merritt came on stage because I didn't see that. But it was about how great the Democratic Party is and how great all of these Black officials, all these people that are supposed to be representing you, from Ben Crump to Kamala Harris to Al Sharpton. They even brought up Barack Obama. Everyone is so great. Look at all this progress in the midst of so much tragedy, but we're all so great. And look at what we're doing for you right now by holding this funeral, right? Let me play this for you. Okay, let me play some of these clips for you real quick. Let me get into Kamala Harris, okay?
Good afternoon, church. Reverend Sharpton, I want to thank you for all you do for so many. There are so many families here who have been personally touched by your leadership and your strength and your fellowship. Reverend Dr. Lawrence Turner, thank you for welcoming us. Keisha Lance Bottom, Mitch Landrew. We are here on behalf of the people of our country and our President, Joe Biden. And we are here to celebrate the life of Tyre Nichols.
So as you see, Tyre Nichols is the last person on her list. Now, I know some of you thinking, oh, you're reaching, TD. Come on, that was a basic introduction. No. Follow me now. Follow me now. This is not a reach. Now, what I want you to listen to now is how Al Sharpton put himself up on the highest pedestal as if to compare himself to Martin Luther King. Al Sharpton, during this Vote Blue No Matter Who rally, he was making reference to Martin Luther King's final speech in Memphis, right? The mountaintop speech. You know, in that speech, if I remember correctly, Martin Luther King was saying something to the effect of, I've climbed to the mountaintop and I've seen the promised land, right? I may not get there with you, but you'll get there without me. He said something to that degree, right? It was almost rather prophetic to a degree, as if he knew he was going to die the next day, which he did. He was assassinated. But I want you to hear what Al Sharpton had to say and how he was able to pivot that into like him being so great and how I'm going to climb the mountaintop. I'm a mountaintop climber. This is, like I said, this was about everybody else but Tyre. Let me play this for you right now.
In the car by himself and rode over to Mason Temple, and he started speaking that night, and something came over him. He said that I don't fear any man. He said, God has allowed me to go to the mountaintop, and I've seen the promised land. And that's the last speech he gave right here in Memphis when he went to the mountaintop. I believe when he looked over, he could see a Barack Obama become president. I believe when he went to the mountaintop, he could look over and see a Kamala Harris sitting as vice president. I believe.
I'm not sure if when King went to the mountaintop, he saw an Indian woman becoming vice president.
When he looked over from the mountaintop, he saw black police chiefs. He didn't expect you to disgrace him. He expected you to bring us on to the promised land.
Now, before I let him carry on, I want to stop right there, right? He said that he didn't expect you to disgrace him. He expected you to bring him over to the promised land. There's this effort that you see, and it's not just from people on the right, right? We've been seeing this. We're seeing this now from the people on the quote left as well, like the Al Sharpton, right? To make this some sort of a black on black crime issue when it wasn't a black on black crime issue. It has nothing to do with the dream of Martin Luther King and climbing to the mountaintop or anything like that. This is a rogue police unit that did what rogue police units do, like the Red Dogs in Atlanta, to here with the Scorpion unit and other police units of this nature that have existed throughout the years and that still exist now. This kind of stuff happens all the time with these rogue special police unit teams. So that's what this is about. It's not about any type of black on black violence or sullying the dream of Martin Luther King, right? And I'm noticing a pattern now, and I want you all to pay attention to this pattern, right? Because I don't have it clipped up here, but if you were to go back and watch what Al Sharpton said in its entirety, and it's all on YouTube, you can go see it for yourself, right? If I remember after the live stream, I'll leave the links to all the full speeches below. But he made a reference to how black folks have become the new white supremacists. Like, he said it very quickly and very subtly, but he made that point. It was really quick, right? He said, what the white folks used to do, we do to each other now, right? And that was also a point that was made by Michael Eric Dyson in the interview that he did with what's my man's name, Mark Lamont Hill. They made the same comparison. I don't know if you all remember when we did the live stream on it, how Eric Dyson said Hotep hooligans like myself. Remember, I'm a Hotep hooligan who doesn't read. Hotep hooligans like myself, we are doing the bidding of white supremacists. We are the new white supremacists. That was what Michael Eric Dyson said. Hotep hooligans like me are the new white supremacists. So there's a pattern going on here where these black leaders are now deeming black people the new white supremacists. I just want you all to pay attention to that pattern. I wish I had that portion clipped up. I'll make sure to clip it up for next week live stream, just so you know that I'm telling the truth, right? Because most people aren't going to look it up for themselves, and it's okay. I understand you all have things to do, and if you're a vote blue, no matter who, or you're just going to disregard what I'm saying. But I'll make sure to have it for next week's live stream. But let's carry on. Let's keep hearing what Al Sharpton has to say.
That's why I'm still marching. Yeah. Yes, I got books out. Yes, I got a TV show.
Let me rewind it back just a little bit. But look how he quickly pivoted it from Martin Luther King into making it about himself.
That's why I'm still marching. Yeah. Yes, I got books out. Yes, I got a TV show, but I'm a mountain climber. I'm not going to stop till I get to the top of the mountain. You can call me names on right-wing television. I'm a mountain climber. I expect stumbles to come my way. I'm a mountain climber.
Is this about Tyre Nichols? Is this about Martin Luther King's legacy? Or is this about Al Sharpton?
You can disgrace me, you can discredit me, but I'm going to keep on climbing. I'm going to climb until Tyre Nichols gets justice. I'm going to climb until Eric Garner gets justice. I'm going to climb until we change the laws. We're mountain climbers. We're not day traders. We're mountain climbers. And if God be for us, it's more than the whole world against us. He walks with me. He talks with me. He tells me that I'm his own. He's been food when I was hungry, water when I was thirsty. He's my rock. He's my rock. He's my rock. My sword and shield. My wheel in the middle of the wheel. Yes. Yes.
Did he say Tyre Nichols? Or did I say that? I don't think I said Tyre Nichols. That must have been Al Sharpton who said Tyre Nichols. I don't think I said that. I see somebody said he said Tyre Nichols. He also got his age wrong too. If you watch it in its entirety, he said that he was 39 years old. I mean, those things are petty and whatever. You know, that stuff happens. What I remember during Nipsey Hussle's funeral, Farrakhan called him Nipsey Russell. I don't know if you all remember that. So, name slippages, that stuff happens. But as you can see, Al Sharpton made it all about him and how he's climbing to the mountaintop. And yeah, I got books and I got TV shows and I do all these great things, but I'm going to keep climbing to the mountaintop for you all. It's about everybody else but Tyre, as you can see. And I want to thank Capricorn Queen for the super chat. Thank you very much, Capricorn Queen. And also thank you very much to... the comments are scrolling by so fast. Thank you very much to Desmond Clark as well. You can sell us anything as long as the message has some kind of catchy rhythm. Yeah, pretty much. Thank you very much, Desmond Clark. Like I said, for the support as well. All the support that I receive on this channel is definitely needed, is definitely much appreciated. And I just want to thank you guys so much. It always humbles me when you spend your hard-earned dollars on me by way of thanking me for the work that I put in on this channel. JD Informant, thank you very much. Sometimes I got to pre-read JD Informant's tweets. I mean his super chats. Let me see. JD Informant said Joe Biden invited Tyre Nichols family to the State of the Union address. Guess he has his 2024 George Floyd in the bag for the re-election vote for me. Vote for me. Remember Tyre Nichols. That's true. That is so. I feel I fumbled JD Informant's super chat. I want to read it one more time because that's so true. And that's kind of the ultimate point that I was going to get to coming towards the end of this video, right? The end of this live stream. JD Informant said, Joe Biden invited Tyre Nichols' family to the State of the Union address. Guess he has his 2024 George Floyd in the bag for re-election. Vote for me. Remember Tyre Nichols. I could end the stream right there. Honestly, I could. JD Informant, he finished it all out for me. We're finished. We're done. You know, we can finish it all out because that captures it right there. Only things you got to put some spaces in between your username, brother. But I appreciate the super chat. He said, thanks for expanding on this traitor of ADOS and Black society. Hashtag Al Sharpton. I appreciate the support, brother. Thank you very much. Ryan Glenn showing love. Thank you, Ryan Glenn, for the love that you're showing to this channel. Also, Kid Gravity Beyond, I appreciate the support as well. He said, did you see that logo? CBS News has the footage at 3:27. I thought that was fake. I did see that. I'm not going to say that word right now, but I did see that logo that the man with the small mustache wore over there in Germany. Apparently somebody had that patch on their arm at Tyre Nichols' funeral. I saw that video, but that video looked like it was fake to me. I didn't bother to research and see if that was real or not, but that'll be interesting to see. I'll look into it some more and see if that was actually real. Also, thank you very much, Kid David, for your support. Like I said, it all helps and it all counts. Thank you very much, Kid David. And thank you very much, Val Williams, for your support. Now let's carry on with the show. And what I want to get into now, because like I said, this was about everybody else but Tyre Nichols. And I want you to see how long Ben Crump's thank you for you all being here because you're all so great lasted. Like, I believe Benjamin Crump's speech, you can call it, lasted about 23 minutes. The first 5 or 6 minutes, I cut it down a little bit, but the first 5 minutes was him. The first quarter of it is him just talking about how great everybody is. Kamala Harris is so great. Al Sharpton is so great. I'm so great. Everybody's so great because look at us gracing you all with our presence here. Listen to what Ben Crump had to say. This was about everybody but Tyre Nichols. This was nothing more but a vote blue, no matter who rally.
Y'all give it up for one of the greatest mountain climbers in America today, Reverend Al Sharpton, mountain climber. Thank you for being a mentor and just a person who always answers the bell. A lot of these families here, Reverend Al, you answered the bell for when many people wouldn't answer the bell. We know the big names that became hashtags, but for every George Floyd, for every Breonna Taylor, for every Ahmaud Arbery, there are 100 other nameless black people who've been killed in America that nobody remembered, but you answered the bell, Reverend Al Sharpton, and I want to say thank you publicly. To Pastor Turner, thank you for allowing us in your cathedral. To all the other clergy, to Mayor Keisha Lance Bottom, we thank you for coming. To Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee.
He's just going on and on and on, isn't he? My God, like I said, is this about Tyre Nichols or is this about the Congressional Black Caucus?
So, Congressman Steve School, we thank you for your great leadership here in Memphis, Tennessee. And certainly to Mitch Landry. And I would be remiss, Reverend Al, if I didn't acknowledge yet again the highest ranking African-American woman in United States history, the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, who did not think it robbery to take time out of her busy schedule to come and comfort this black mother who lost her child unjustly. Thank you, Madam Vice President. We will never forget this day.
No, we will never forget the day when the first Indian vice president showed up to this Vote Blue No Matter Who rally.
And then I want to acknowledge some of the activists and the local activists here in Memphis, Tennessee, who were here before I even got here. I want you all to stand and be recognized, because without you local activists, we would not have heard about Tyre Nichols.
His reason for bringing the local activists up is really for him to pivot over to the national activists, where he's going to start talking about Tamika Mallory, my son, and others like that. You know, that's what that's about. It's about pivoting over to the mainstream media activists.
I had the activists' names written down, and I will thank them in my conversation if you hand that to Reverend Al. And I want to thank some of the.
Now, mind you, I want you to don't lose sight of that, what he just said. He said, I have the name of the activist. I had it written down, but I'll get to y'all later. Because like I said, that was just supposed to be a transitionary point from talking about the local activists to speaking on the mainstream media activists, the Tamika Mallory's and my sons of the world. That's why he didn't want to shout them out. And the reason that he really didn't want to shout them out publicly is because what you don't want to happen is you have a situation where you kind of give the local activists some shine, and then they mess around and turn into a, what's the brother's name from Ferguson? Oh, it's slipping my mind. The one that got assassinated. He got shot up in his car and then they set the car on fire. Darren Seals. They don't want another Darren Seals popping up. And if you notice, if you pay attention to what Crump said, he said, I'll get to them later, right? I'll get to y'all later. I'll talk to y'all behind the scenes. Pass that paper over to Al, right? He said, pass it over to Al so that he'll talk to them later. But Al messed it up. Al got the paper. They passed it over to him. And you're going to see Al passes it to Crump. So now Crump has to say their name. So I thought that was pretty funny, because that's not what he wanted to do. That wasn't the play. But, you know, every now and then, you know, your homeboy messed the play up for you. And Al Sharpton kind of messed the play up for Benjamin Crump, as you're going to see right now.
The national activists who didn't think it robbery to come. I know Tamika Mallory and my son, and also, thank you, Reverend Al.
Al fumbled it. Ben Crump was like, thank you, Al.
We got Casio Montez. We got Paula Barris. We got Hunter Dempster. We got Amber Sherman. We got L.J. Abraham. We got Frank Gotti. We got Pam Moses. We wouldn't be here without you activists, so thank you. We would not be here. A lot of times we always acknowledge the people in the high positions, but it's the people who on the ground on the front line, like you taught me, Reverend Al, who make the difference.
I keep seeing many of you all saying, is this even a funeral? No, it's not a funeral. It was a Vote Blue No Matter Who rally. They took over this man's funeral. Poor Tyre. They took this man's funeral over and turned it into a Vote Blue No Matter Who rally. This is not a funeral, as you all can clearly see. Now, real quickly, I want to thank those that are showing love to the channel. Your contributions are always needed, necessary, and much appreciated, and I'm very humbled by it. The 6-4, thank you very much. He said, we Black Americans went from MLK to Al Sharpton, from Johnny Cochran to Ben Crump, from getting to the mountaintop to walking over a cliff. That is for sure the truth. Thank you very much. Broken Traditions said, showing support to one of the best in Black media. I appreciate that, Broken Traditions. I really do. Thank you. I try my best, you know, to put forth, you know, the information that you all want to see and hear. Also, AB Promotions, thank you very much. AB Promotions said, why do I feel the empty promises in the air with this political rally. Oh, there's going to be an empty promise coming up right now. And that's the second portion of the stream that we're going to get into, is because this then would go on to pivot to reselling Black Americans on the George Floyd justice and policing bill, right? That's what this then turned into. After all of the patting one another on the back and talking about how we're so great and we're all so amazing, Kamala's amazing. Oh my gosh, she didn't have to be here, but she's here with Tyree's mother because she's so amazing. Look, me, Ben Crump, I'm just phenomenal. I'm here. We're all here. It pivoted from that into trying to resell the George Floyd justice and policing bill. Let me get into some of that for you right now. And right before I do that, thank you very much, King Alexander. I thought this was a comedy skit. I know, right? It seems like it. It seems like it.
Tyre Nichols should have been safe. So I'll just close by saying this. I was, as a senator, as a United States Senator, a co-author of the original George Floyd Justice and Policing Act.
Pat Kamala on the back. Pat her on the back. She just had to stun on y'all real quick.
And as Vice President of the United States, we demand that Congress pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Joe Biden will sign it. And we should not delay, and we will not be denied. It is non-negotiable.
Joe Biden could have signed it his first 2 years in office when the Democrats controlled the House and the Senate. I'll just leave it there and let's carry on. Faye or Fee, I believe it's pronounced. So you always bring awesome content. Much love and blessings to you. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support. It is definitely much appreciated. Thank you.
To Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who told Rovon and Rodney that not only is she going to reintroduce the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act right after the State of the Union address, but she is also going to have a Tyre Nichols duty to intervene in that legislation. So thank you.
You gotta love the symbolism behind it all, right? Now within the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, there's going to be embedded an amendment, a Tyre Nichols duty for officers to intervene. One of the things that you see that Democrats love to do is that they take general reform bills, right? The George Floyd policing bill, which is a general police reform bill, right? This is about everybody. It's about the United States. We want to reform the police, right? They take general reform bills like the police reform bill, and they name it after somebody Black. So it's the George Floyd policing bill, right? Policing reform bill, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act bill. They name these bills after you to make it feel like you're actually getting something for voting for the Democrats when you're not getting anything at all. It's just a general bill. It's the equivalent of me showing up to a party. Let's say I came to your Thanksgiving party and I showed up with a cake and I told you, right? You're not the host of the party. You just happen to be at the party. But I walked up to you and I said, hey, I made this cake for you. It was truly just for you. But that's leave the cake on the table and everybody's eating a slice of the cake except for you. That's the equivalent of what this is and what they continue to do always. But even in situations like this, where they're naming bills after you, despite the fact that they're general reform bills, but they're naming it after you to make it seem like you're getting something out of it, they even still won't pass those bills, even when they had the House and the Senate for the first 2 years of Biden's presidency. But then they'll sit up here once they don't have the numbers in Congress anymore and make a show out of it. And you'll have Kamala Harris sitting up here talking about, we got to pass this bill. And when we do, Joe Biden's going to sign it. Joe Biden's not going to sign nothing. The Republicans are in control now. They're not going to pass the bill. And Biden's going to lose the election next year. So Joe Biden's not signing anything. He's not signing a thing, right? This is the kind of foolishness that's going on. Now, what I want to do, and what is so important, and we're going to round this video out, we're going to round the stream out with this, right? I'm trying to debate now in my mind. Should I play the video first? Or should I say that? I'm just going to say this very quickly first, and I'll play the video, right? What they're looking to do with this George Floyd policing bill is that this bill is going to be Black America's new Civil Rights Act. This is something that they plan on dragging out for the next decade to come. And this was something that I said on this channel at the top of Biden's election, at the top of him winning the presidency. I told you all for the next 10 years, up until 2030, they're going to run Black Americans around the ringer, if I'm using that phrase correctly. They're going to run you around the ringer in between criminal justice reform, police reform, and voting rights. Those are going to be your issues for the next decade. And this is stuff that you don't have time for because all of those things are secondary issues. I stand on this hill, right? I guess like Al Sharpton, oops. And I'm going to die on this hill. I'm going to die on this mountain. The number one priority issue for Black America is closing the racial wealth gap. Anything outside of that is a waste of time. I promise you, I'm going to die on that hill. There is nothing more important than closing the racial wealth gap. And if legislation isn't put in place to help close that racial wealth gap, everything else is nonsense. Everything else is a waste of time. And I'm going to get into more of even why that's a waste of time in next week's live stream at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time next Friday. I don't want to get too deep into it right now, but it's all a waste of time, man. Close that racial wealth gap. That's the only thing that needs to happen. Everything outside of that is it's foolishness. But here, Al Sharpton is going to show you what I told you at the top of this decade in 2020 when Biden got in, right? Or I should say, I guess 2021 when he got in, right? When I said they're going to have you running around in circles behind criminal justice reform for the next decade, Al Sharpton is going to prove that point right now. Okay, this is your new Civil Rights Act.
We're not asking for nothing special. We're asking to be treated equal and to be treated fair. And just like they marched and boycotted and went to jail for 9 years from the 55 Montgomery bus boycott to the 64 Civil Rights Act, we're going to pay the same dues to get this George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Reverend, how long? I don't know how long. They didn't know how long it would be when they boycotted in the 50s. It's not about a timetable. It's that we cannot continue to live under these double standards and under these conditions. We don't care how long, but I can tell you.
I had to interrupt. He said, don't ask me how long it's going to take. It don't matter how long. It's going to take however long it's going to take. If it took King and them, you know, King and the homies, right? If it took King and them 9 years, right, to be able to get the 1964 was a civil rights bill passed. If it took them 9 years to be able to do that, then don't ask me how long it's going to take to get this George Floyd policing and reform bill to pass. Don't ask me that. He said, don't look for a timestamp. This is insanity. Let me calm down because I don't like getting like too emotional and too hyper, right? But this is crazy. Nobody said to the AAPI community, don't ask us how long, right? When they gave them a hate crime bill. When it comes to immigration reform, no one said don't ask us how long, because though on the federal level, certain immigration reforms are stalling, on the local level, the Democrats are getting it popping, okay? On the local level, I just saw, I think it was Minneapolis or Minnesota, they have a bill that passed, right? It was like a right to drive, where they just passed a bill where all illegal immigrants are able to get driver's license now. And that's not really a new thing. I believe that that's done here in Los Angeles already. That's something that's been happening, right? But you're seeing this spread across the whole country now. So now those who cross the border illegally are able to get driver's license. You see how they're handling things on a local level. Okay, local level. You saw in New York, they tried, but it failed, but they're going to keep trying. In New York, where you can be a non-citizen and vote in local elections, right? Non-citizens, they passed a bill city council where non-citizens were able to vote in local elections. Now, it was struck down by the New York Supreme Court, right? But don't you think that they're not going to run it back again to make sure that non-citizens can vote in elections? You see also here in California, the bill just passed. I believe it was SB 960, I think it was called, that I reported on, where now non-citizens are able to become police officers in California. Non-citizens are able to become police officers in California. Okay? So though on a federal level, there's the immigration reform that they would ultimately like to just make a sweeping change in which everybody just becomes citizens, that hasn't passed yet. But locally, you don't have to ask how long, because they're just making it happen. They're making it happen. But when it comes to Black Americans, oh, don't ask me how long. Y'all just got to wait. Just keep voting blue no matter who. Eventually, we'll get around to you. Just keep voting for us, though, right? Just keep getting in that voting booth, and whoever it is, Kamala Harris, Michelle Obama 2024, y'all go ahead and show up and vote for her.
One thing, those of you that keep voting against that bill, we're going to vote against you. We got more numbers than the police union.
I'm just gonna run it back a little bit one more time before we get out of here. Let me run that back a little. Don't ask Al Sharpton how long. You're talking about when is this bill gonna pass? Don't ask Al Sharpton that. Just shut up and go vote blue no matter who.
How long? They didn't know how long it would be when. How long? I don't know how long. They didn't know how long it would be when they boycotted in the 50s. It's not about a timetable. It's that we cannot continue to live under these double standards and under these conditions. We don't care how long, but I can tell you one thing, those of you that keep voting against that bill, we're going to vote against you. We got more numbers than the police union.
What Al Sharpton said didn't even make sense. He said, what he said, don't think you can keep voting against this bill. If you do, we're going to vote against you because we have more numbers than the police union. What does that even mean? What is he even talking about? This is how lowly, if I'm using that term correctly or that word right, that they think of Black America. This is how childlike they think you are. I can just get up on the stage and say anything. I guess he thought it was clever and that made sense, right? I don't know. Like, it doesn't matter if y'all keep voting against this. We're going to vote against you because we have more numbers than the police union. What? You just talking now. You should be on the show on the secondary channel with me and Rob, just talking with TD Rob and Al Sharpton. He should be over there with us because you just saying stuff. You just running your mouth, just talking just to be talking, right? But in closing, that's what this whole funeral was all about. It wasn't a funeral. They took advantage of the Tyre Nichols situation in order to, like, I believe it was Jay the Informant said, I wish I could pull his, I really want to read his super chat again in closing. But this was, Joe Biden's George Floyd. This is his new George Floyd to help get him reelected. Vote for me because remember, Tyre Nichols. That's what they're turning this into, right? That's what this has become. And that's what it's all about. And I can't find Jay the Informant's tweet. I keep saying tweet. I can't find his super chat where he made that comment. But you all get the point. So I don't have to sit here and beat a dead horse, right? So with all that being said, I want to thank you all for joining me in today's show. Don't forget, as always, every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or if I'm keeping it a buck, between 1 o'clock and 1:30 Pacific Standard Time, somewhere in between the first 30 minutes of 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I go live every Friday, and we're definitely going to run it back next Friday at the same time, where I'm going to expound on this, and we're going to go deeper into more of how Joe Biden failed Tyre Nichols. Okay, so be here next Friday. Make sure, please, on your way out, you hit the like button. Please make sure you subscribe if you're here new to the channel, and also please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms as well. So I need some water. Until the next stream, I'll see you guys next Friday. And obviously you'll get the pre-recorded uploads throughout the week as well. So I'll catch you guys later. Peace.